Alright, thank you so much for you guys watching this video today. Welcome to the channel. This is going to be a very last minute intro because this wasn't planned. This was just out of nowhere and it's starting to happen like right now, or like I would say tomorrow. But just want to say thank you guys so much for watching this video today. This is going to be a very special video to me, especially because this is going to be about the Datsun. Now, as you guys can see on the title of this video, we're saying goodbye to the Datsun. I'll explain everything just in a second. Before this video gets started today, be sure to hit that like button and go down below and subscribe for me, because that does help out a lot. With that being said, we're just gonna go ahead and start the video. Alright guys, don't mind my messy hair. Like this was like I said again, very last minute. So as you guys can see, my Datsun 280ZX is right here, and it's just pretty much just been sitting out here. Like as you can see, it is completely dirty. Has like no detail whatsoever. There are many reasons why I don't detail it. Like as you guys don't know, if whoever's new here, I do have a lot of rust damage and clear coat damage, and it definitely needs a repaint and bondo work as well. But that's going to be in a future video way ahead. But with that being said, I'll go ahead and explain what's going on. Alright, like I said before, we are saying goodbye to the Datsun because the Datsun 280ZX is finally getting fixed. My mechanic recently hit me up and we are bringing in the Datsun to fix my manifold issue. If you guys don't know, I have a pretty bad cracked manifold in my exhaust system and I can't pass smog, and it's actually very rough to drive because it actually won't idle out correctly, or I'm just getting a ton of loss of power. And another thing too, the toxins of the fumes, they're very bad to breathe in. Even if I have the windows down, even when I'm wearing a mask, it's still very hard to drive that car even though if it has all those fumes in the cabin. But that won't matter no more because we are going to get this car towed and we're going to get it fixed really soon. I'm actually waiting for the tow truck tomorrow and it's going to be ready to be picked up. But before we get this car towed, we need to do a couple of things, and I'll explain in a second. For starters, unfortunately, when I was told that we're going to bring in the Datsun to get it fixed, like I said, it was very last minute and I didn't know what to expect. That's because I didn't check out my fluids and all my battery, and unfortunately I left my battery plugged in, so I went to go get it recharged. Unfortunately it was a bad battery, and it's a shame too because I recently just bought that battery and it's supposed to last up to 3 years. So I definitely got a jump scare, but luckily I had a warranty on it. So just a heads up, you guys, if you have a car that's just going to be sitting on the driveway, even though if it's just going to be a day or you're not too sure how long, I would disconnect the battery. Now I know for sure that I just need a battery plugged in. I already have it in the car, it's just not plugged in yet. In terms of oil and coolant, I don't know if I have the oil at the moment or the coolant, but I'm not too worried because the car is not going to be driving, not even for like 5 minutes. It's just going to be driving onto the bed of the trailer and just drive off the trailer and pull into the garage. But let's go ahead and open the hood and we'll plug in the battery and we'll check our voltage and check our oil pressure, make sure everything is good. And hopefully this car starts still. I haven't started in a couple of months. I'm not too sure exactly. I'll probably put it on the screen right here, but let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, so we're in the car. So I couldn't really check all the fluids unfortunately, just because I'm lacking some of the oils right now and I don't have any spare cash at the moment, so I have to wait till I'm ready to buy some new fluids again and for the car to be driven again. So pretty much all I did, I just checked the oil. It is pretty dark, so it probably needs an oil change pretty soon. Another thing too, I do have some transmission fluid, but I know I have a leak somewhere and it showed that I was above the level, but I know for sure that it's definitely a little under, just because my driveway is on a slant hill a little bit, so it is pointing down. And in terms of my power steering, like I can't really put any power steering fluid in there at the moment. Only reason is because I do have a pretty bad leak
and it just leaks out over time and it just creates a huge mess. So I just went ahead and hold off on that because I'll fix that in a future video. But as you guys can see, we are in the Datsun right now. So mainly what I'm trying to see is making sure I have somewhat of fuel. I know I don't have a lot of fuel right now, but I only just need a little just to get on the trailer because this car is not going to be driven for that long. Another thing too is I do have a voltage meter as well. It's kind of hard to see because you have a little glare on the sun, but if you like zoom in here, there we go. Yeah, so I do have volts now, so we'll go ahead and start the car in just in a second. Alright guys, I have the key here. What I'm gonna do for now is I'm just gonna prime the fuel pump because what I'm trying to do is just build up fuel pressure just to make sure it reaches the engine all the way. So I'm gonna do that at least 3 times and then I'll go ahead and turn on the vehicle. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and prime the fuel pump. So I hear the fuel pump. Shut it off. Turn it back on again. One more time. Alright, so I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I hear some like very high-pitched noise coming from the fuel pump. Now this car is pretty shallow, so I can definitely hear a lot of things throughout the car. But when I went ahead and primed the fuel pump, I definitely noticed that the gas definitely went down a lot. So I'm gonna try. So tomorrow I'm gonna go ahead and get some like gas, just a little bit, just to prep it up and make sure like I have enough gas to get on the lift. But I'm pretty sure I still do, just for extra safety and reliability. But for now, I'm just gonna turn on the fuel pump. I won't turn on the car yet because I feel like there is a leak somewhere. So I'm gonna go ahead and start that really quick and check underneath the car. Okay guys, so I checked it underneath the car to see if there's any leak. I guess it's just the fuel pump. Since I upgraded to an electric fuel pump, I'm just not used to like hearing that type of fuel pump because it is a different model and a different type of, I believe the type of fuel pump I'm using. But we're gonna go ahead and turn on the car. Hopefully everything goes well. It's been a very, very long time since the Datsun last ran and turned on. So let's cross our fingers and hopefully nothing's gonna get in our way to turn on this car because we're so close getting it fixed. So let's go ahead and turn on the car. Fingers crossed. Wow, she started right up. Like now, I thought it was gonna take a couple of tries, but it started right up very fast. I am super stoked because now we can finally get the Datsun fixed. I know you guys been wanting to see the Datsun out for a very, very long time. That's why I got the Civic, because I know I won't be able to put out any more content. But let me go ahead and shut this off really quick so I can let you guys talk. Alright, for sure there's fumes and there's definitely an exhaust leak on my manifold, but we'll go ahead and take care of that tomorrow or during this week. But I am super stoked that we got the Datsun finally started. I'm very surprised it started right up. I thought it was gonna take a couple more tries, but it definitely started really, really good, which I'm really stoked for. Now, the other thing I have to probably check is my brake fluid because my brake felt very, very squishy, so I definitely probably need some brake fluid. But I'm just gonna let the car just sit at the moment. I won't turn it on again because like if I turn it on like again really, really soon, or if I shut it off first and then turn it on again, it won't turn on again. It's because of the cracked manifold. But now that I know that the Datsun is gonna turn on and it's gonna drive tomorrow, we should be all good. I know I haven't test drive it yet, but I'm pretty confident that it will definitely get on the trailer, no problem. I just have to do it very quickly because I don't want this car to overheat or worse. But as you guys can see, the Datsun finally started right up. I'm very stoked to get this car running again. It has been a very, very long time since I drove this car. I still have a lot planned for this car. It just has to hold off a little bit longer just because that cracked manifold just got in the way, and just for smog and emissions and everything, I definitely can't drive this on the road yet, but it will be really, really soon. I can promise you guys that. But before I end this video today, if you guys stick around for a little bit, I will start showing the parts that we're going to be installing on the Datsun 280ZX to get it fixed and running well again. Alright guys, so the Datsun's ready for tomorrow. Pretty much all I had to do was just making sure all the fluids are good, making sure that there's no any leaks after I started the vehicle. The voltage is still good, it didn't went down or anything, which is really good. The Datsun is known to getting oil on the spark plugs, so I didn't really check that, but since it started to right up right away, I didn't think there was necessary to go ahead and check that out. But the Datsun is ready for tomorrow. Like, you guys will see me tomorrow when it's getting towed. I will try to document the build or the fixing process as soon as I can. I just have to work during the week, and I don't know if I'll get enough footage, but I will try my best to get some footage for you guys, because I definitely want to capture this moment too, because the Datsun's finally getting fixed and it hasn't run in a very long time. Alright guys, so it is the next day. We are actually about to head outside and get the car ready, because my buddy's here to pick up the Datsun. So I'm going to go ahead and outside, I'm going to get the Datsun loaded up. Alright guys, so we are getting into the Datsun now, and we're going to turn it on. So I haven't checked to see if it started today, but it should start no problem. Moment of truth. Starts right up. Alright dude, so we got the trailer onto the trailer. This is Andy, by the way. You want to say hi, Andy?
Hello, people.
So I met Andy through Gabriel, so he's going to be helping out the Datsun and he's going to be fixing it. So thanks again, dude. I really appreciate it. Yeah, so I had to put down the camera because like I had to focus on getting the car onto the trailer itself. We had to get some wooden planks because my car is a little bit lowered. So yeah, so all we have to do now is just like get the car to the shop and we can go ahead and start working on it. Just like that, you guys. The Datsun is out of here. Got an empty driveway again with a few oil stains, but nothing too crazy. So now all I have to do is wait till we get a day that we can actually come check it out, the Datsun, see how it's doing. Okay guys, fast forward a couple days later, we are actually going to go check out the Datsun 280ZX to see how it's going. Andy hit me up recently. Pretty much everything is almost completely done. I was very surprised. He actually got finished a lot quicker than I expected. He did mention that there was something wrong with the Datsun, something about ABS. Alright, so for now, we're just going to go head over and see what's going on. For that way, we are definitely taking the Civic along. Alright guys, quick interruption here. So I actually didn't really explain when I was at Andy's garage or workspace what happened and like what's going on now. So pretty much what we done is we got the new headers on. Actually, I didn't even explain to you guys. I got new headers for the Datsun 280ZX with the downpipe as well. I got a new mass airflow sensor with the mass airflow sensor boots. I got a new intake and exhaust manifold gasket. So when we went ahead and disassembled everything, unfortunately I couldn't capture enough footage of him actually working on the Datsun. So what we discovered was that exhaust leak that was just spewing a bunch of fumes. It turns out it was the exhaust intake manifold gasket has blown on the very far right, because I actually have a broken bolt to where it holds on the manifold. So we went ahead and replaced that. The bolt that's broken on there is still there, so eventually I have to get rid of that and get an extracting kit. But we got the new headers on. We ran into a couple of complications along the way. So what happened was, for starters, I actually had to delete my EGR2 that's connected to part of the exhaust. Not really too sure where, but Andy went ahead and blocked that off so it can run a lot better. So in the future, I'm going to need a EGR delete kit. But other than that, we got the headers on. However, it did came with a downpipe, but the problem is the headers and the downpipe were for a manual transmission Datsun 280ZX. So it kind of sucks because when I went ahead and ordered that part, they didn't really specify it was for the manual transmission. It was for just a 1981 Datsun 280ZX. Like, they didn't do any description or anything. But other than that, what we end up doing is we got those headers back on. So right now the Datsun just has headers right now. The old exhaust is still on, but it's just barely hanging from all the other bolts and the loose rubber hangers. But other than that,
When we started the car, Andy notices something about the Datsun. So apparently, whoever worked on the car, I don't know if it was recently or a long time ago, but apparently the Datsun 280ZX was actually running off the wrong thing. I'm not too sure what it is exactly. I'm not too much of an expert on L series, but what had happened was Andy went ahead and figured that out and made it run properly to where it runs a lot better. But now it's running a lot richer. It's possible that it could just be my mass airflow sensor has gone bad because it's just really old, or it just has open headers at the moment. But another thing that came along the way was my mass airflow sensor boot was for a manual transmission Datsun, or it was for a different year, because I have two holes that are supposed to connect to these vacuum tubes. I'll put a picture on the screen here just in a second of which one I was supposed to have and the current one that I have on the other side. But other than that, so unfortunately we couldn't install that new boot or the new sensor, so I have to wait till I get a new boot first and get a new setup, because what we're going to be doing next on the Datsun is making a custom exhaust to fit the existing exhaust. I'm not too sure what I'm going to be doing yet with that exhaust. Anyways, so we went ahead and got that fixed. Andy did an amazing job. He got that in the next 3 days after I dropped off the Datsun 280ZX. Well, other than that, like the car sounds a lot better, and it sounds insane after we put on those headers. I'll show you guys the clip in just in a second, but I just wanted to explain this to you guys because I just couldn't have the time, or I just wasn't thinking of explaining it because there was just so much happening at once, or I was just very distracted because of how the Datsun 280ZX sounds. But with that being said, thank you guys, and let's get back to the video.
That is insane. That is insane. If I owned a Subaru, it definitely would be this car. This is Andy's car. Sick two-door coupe Subaru. Super nice. I definitely would like to have one. Right now we're just filling up the air in the tires because the car has just been sitting for so long and there's no air in it. Plus it needs new valve stems and new tires as well. That's going to be way in the future. Alright guys, so I really couldn't film too much of like when the Datsun was getting fixed up, only because like Andy is really hard at doing his work and he gets done, or he likes working on cars really fast. I respect that. I'm sorry I couldn't get any footage of the process of getting it fixed up. However, I hope you guys enjoyed that little clip of what's to come, because I was definitely not expecting the sound of those headers to make my car sound like that. So I was very surprised, and I'm very stoked to see what's to come. There is an issue though. It definitely, something is wrong when it's running, because Andy suggested that it's running too rich. So I probably need to get a new O2 sensor, possibly more of that to come, because I'm not really too sure what's next. But mainly we're gonna focus on getting the new O2 sensor. My headers that I got were actually for a manual transmission on Datsun. I have an automatic transmission at the moment. It will be a manual in the future, I promise. But but for now, I probably might weld a custom exhaust onto my existing exhaust, Only reason because open headers are super obnoxious and it's insanely loud, and the fumes are still getting out. So I definitely want to go through the catalytic converter because just so it can minimize those fumes. But yeah, the car sounds amazing. It sounds great, but I wouldn't say I'll run the Datsun with open headers. It's too risky. Plus, with all the emissions and smog going around, I definitely would want to make sure I'm not too obnoxious and loud. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. Like, if you guys have any questions or have anything to say, leave a comment down below. Consider subscribing, hit that like button, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.